Man. Wow. You know,
I knew what you did.
man, you
You
know,
hit the wrong button again.
I hate when that happens. Oh my goodness gracious. Hello, Lloyd.
Welcome to my world. Hey, Mel. How
And
you
I don't have
doing?
near as many buttons as you do either.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that was
Man.
funny.
Oh my God.
It said they can barely hear me. Now, why is that?
I don't know. Get up on your
Do I need
microphone,
to eat
maybe.
my microphone? Do
He
what?
doesn't know how to press buttons. He's not.
Yeah, you're not religious like me. You're not a press buttoner or a
Oh,
press
oh,
buttentarian.
oh. Is that what it's
You're not a
supposed to be?
press buttoner. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
You know, presbyters, that's
Yeah.
what they call it.
Yeah. Yeah. That. Wow.
Yeah, that. So,
Man, oh man, oh
oh,
man.
uh,
We've got a
who said,
great show going on tonight. We're going to talk about three different drones. We've got a really super special guest that's going to be in the house with us. Uh, Lloyd is
oh,
louder
I
than
sound
me.
perfect. It's you that doesn't sound good.
Well, how can that be?
I have no clue.
Well, my audio is up all the way.
Does your mic have its own volume control?
I've never changed that.
You know what the secret is?
I'll change it a little bit.
On your mic input, on that mic input, that
Yeah.
little gear, if you open that up, okay, and under general, the top one on the left-hand side,
Uh-huh.
go down there and you'll see where it says gain. Slide
Yeah.
that over to about 4 decibels.
About like that? Is that
Yeah,
better,
there
everybody?
you go.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had a problem with that before, but you know what I'm going to do right now, right?
You're going to save it,
I'm going to save
right?
these settings just to make sure that nothing changes again. Sound
Yeah,
really low.
there you
Volume not
go.
close to the microphone. Lloyd is very loud, but my phone volume is almost all the way up to here. Okay, well, maybe that'll cure
Okay.
it, guys. If it
Yeah.
doesn't do it, let me know and we'll get it fixed, all right?
Yeah.
But in order to not keep him waiting, because this guy is like super important. He is a big shot in the YouTube drone world, and
Right?
I respect the living daylights out of him, and I'm going to put him to a test tonight too, and he just doesn't know it yet. But tell you what, let's go ahead and get him in here, and we'll just start saying hello, everybody in chat. I see New Orleans Girl, I see Wendell, Peter Carroll live, or Wendell live, Peter Carroll, Rodney Bell, Steve Mack, Backwoods Droner, my little brother and dad, Art, Lon, Rodney, and of course Dan. The whole gang. We got a lot of people watching. We got a lot of things going on. I think our guest is ready. He's sitting there with a look on his face like, okay, quit running your mouth and switch me over, all right? Hello, Rick.
Hey, Mel, how are you? How you doing?
Man,
All right?
I'm doing really good. Doing really, really good. Thank you so much for coming in today.
More than happy to be here. And I have to say, when you introduced me like that, all I can do is disappoint at this point. So thanks for that huge build-up for nothing there.
Oh, come on now. I couldn't set the bar high enough for you to miss it.
Well, thank you. Thanks a lot. It's
But
kind of you.
I said something in the beginning there that I was gonna put you to the test, right?
Well, take it easy on me because I was out all day flying. We have unseasonably
Okay.
warm weather in New Jersey, and I had all my birds powered up and ready to go.
Yeah.
So I was out bright and early this morning, like 6
Okay.
hours of flying. It was great.
Well, you know what this is.
Hold on, let me get my specs on. Yep, I got it.
Okay, you know what
Yep,
that is.
Osmo Pocket. I do, yeah. Yes, I
And
do.
you know that goes in there.
That's
right?
right. You've got everything right so far.
Now they also have this thing here. that goes in there. The lightning adapter.
Yeah.
I can't
All right.
quite hang on to it, but the lightning adapter. So they make a lightning extension cable. You can get it on Amazon for a few bucks. So that you can set your tablet like on a tripod or something, put this in, and then have your extension cable so that you can hand hold your pocket, have your monitor stationary, and play with it, right? And everything works.
Sure.
What I want you to make with your team of engineers is an adapter to go into the pocket that we can put the scroll wheel in and have the video. I still can't hang on to that. I'm just going to leave it on the desk. But you get where I'm going here.
I do. And
an
we've
adapter
tried
that we could make the scroll wheel work with, that we could also put an extension lightning cable onto so that we can have our monitor set, you know, on a tripod or whatever, and be able to use the scroll wheel, use the pocket. Now, how cool would that be?
It'd be unbelievable.
That's a Drone Valley home run if I ever seen one, you know?
Yeah, I'll tell you. Well, you've hit on one of the big problems with the Osmo Pocket from the very beginning is that they've, just like with their controllers, they're only going to let you talk to one port at a time. So the minute you put something into that universal port, it basically neuters the other port. It's not active. So the USB-C on the bottom goes away, except for charging. But for data communications, it can either be the bottom port or the top port, but not both of them. And the challenge you've got is they're using a USB-C standard, not to get too nerdy, but USB-C, unlike micro and USB-A, and even Lightning, can only talk to one target at a time. So there's no way for it to recognize two things that's talking to the same port.
So it wouldn't work.
We've tried everything. And that's probably one of the reasons you don't see a lot of USB-C hubs on the market, because a lot of people are asking, well, we'll just use the USB-C hub where I'll plug it into the USB-C and have multiple ports I can plug all my doodads into. That doesn't work. And the reason is because USB-C is designed to talk to one device at a time. So we've tried a lot of different ways. Believe me, we've had perf boards set up with experiments going on all over the place, and we just haven't been able to figure it out. So we haven't given up, but I don't think it's something we can handle. I'm sorry to disappoint.
Oh, man. I was hoping you'd say, yeah, man, I'll get my team of engineers right on that. But
yeah, we're trying.
Apparently you've already been there, so I'm not the first guy to come up with the idea.
We actually thought we had it a couple of times, but it's been a nightmare for us. But we're working. You know, we'll continue to try. We'll see what we can come up with.
Well, that would be amazing if we could get something like that would work.
Sure.
Because there's no other way.
Greg says.
What's Greg say?
Greg says there's a possibility of adding a daisy chain connection with USB-C, but they may not work within the firmware.
Yeah, I've seen actually there's a clip on YouTube. You guys can find it if you search for it, where somebody took a right angle USB-C adapter and then hand soldered on another male USB-C to it, or sorry, another female, that allows them to use sort of a T connection that splits the USB-C in two different directions. And he said it was working, but that just seems like such a science experiment. But, you know, again, Mel, I'm never giving up. I'm easy, right? I'm going to continue to try to figure it out. So hang in there. If we get something, you'll be the first to know.
Well, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see something like that.
You bet.
The other thing I wanted to ask you about is the new Evo.
Yep.
Now, I think that's technically, or maybe even directly or indirectly, it's really the first new drone of 2020, right?
It is. Yeah, it is. I think they beat, the only other one announced at CES that really caught my attention was the X Dynamics Evolve 2. Right. But I think the Evo announced before they did, so I think they've got the title of the first drone of 2020. Yep.
Either way, and I know you've been under NDA with the Evo because I know you've had one 2 or 3 weeks.
I have.
Our wonderful, fearless leaders have decided that January 1, 2020, all aircraft must be equipped with ADS-B. Does the Evo have ADS-B?
Well, you've opened Pandora's box there, so it's going to take me a minute to answer that question properly. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But
so it doesn't
nor
meet
does
the
any other. nor does any other drone that's flying or was announced at CES. So the reason I'm saying you've opened Pandora's box is because what the FAA has actually said, and you guys know this, right? You've read it just like I've read it, 319 pages of riveting document. What they've said essentially is that they're trying to figure out how they're going to identify all the drones that are in the airspace to make people aware of the fact that we may be flying a hobby drone. Now that's got a 3-year period of sort of a lot of comments from us now for the next 28 days or 38 days up until March 3rd. I can't do the math, but until March 3rd, we get to comment and say how upset we are about, you know, what they're trying to propose here. And I think how draconian a lot of the rules that they're trying to put in place are. After that, the FAA can do whatever they want. They have really no reason to listen to us, and hopefully they will. But after that, then it becomes an issue. Now, the ADS-B part of it really isn't something that scares me. I think what they've said, from what I can read, and I've got a clip, I just did a vlog today where I kind of talked about this a little bit, but I'm very upset about it. I think today what they're saying is if the proposed rules go through the way they've stated them, any drone that's flying has to be able to identify its position in 3D space, both its serial number, and you can sort of put your name in there as a group of numbers, a random group of numbers. So it won't know it's Rick Smith flying. It'll just know this drone is flying. But it has to identify its serial number and its position, its GPS location in 3D space from the drone. In addition to that, the controller has to touch the internet and do a second-by-second update of that geoposition to a central collection agency, which will be available to the FAA. So what that does, and I've got a clip coming out to talk about it, is essentially grounds all drones. Yeah, and it essentially grounds all hobbyist drones, because even if you go through the pain of doing all that stuff, just think about the cost on that. Now I've got to have an internet connection that's high speed, constantly updating. We don't know what that monthly fee is going to be for whoever I've got to talk to send that data to. So I think it's really, I know it's going to sound rude, but I think what they've done here is made this sort of a rich person's hobby in a lot of ways, because the average flyer is not going to spend $60 a month on a high-speed data plan and buy a shiny new drone that can do all this magical wizardry. So the FAA has essentially shut down hobbyist drones with this legislation, if it goes through the way it's stated.
When all this heavy lift commercial delivery stuff started a couple years ago, year ago or so, started really getting to be a hot topic.
Yep.
I said then, and somewhere it's probably on video, but I said then we're done. They will beat us, they will take our air away from us, and we will lose our hobby. And I said that. And
yeah, spot
that
on.
even puts out commercial flyers like me. I mean, I'm not going to spend that kind of money to do a real estate inspection once a month, or, you know, even 2 or 3 a month. I'm not, you know, the aircraft, the extra expense is not gonna, the way is not gonna justify the means, and it's just, they are going to take it away from us. They've already taken it. They've already started taking it.
They have, yeah, and it's not there yet. And I think what troubles me mostly, to be honest with you, is I thought that they were playing ball with most of the hobbyists up till now. I think that FAA in general has done a great job of integrating this fast-paced, eruptive technology into the airspace. I mean, drones, if you think back, you and I have been flying a long time, all three of us have. I mean, years gone by, you'd have a drone that would go, if it went 100 yards, that would be a miracle. And, you know, it didn't go very high. The wind came along, it was in a tree. To go from that to this new Skydio Evo 2 technology, you've got NASA-level technology in that drone. And the FAA has had to contend with all that. How do we integrate it? How do we make it safe? How do we do all that? And I think up until really January 1st, I thought they did a really good job of figuring out a well-balanced way to integrate drones into the airspace, and all of us got to fly, and it was a great thing. This, to me, isn't just a step forward or 2 step forward. It's like they started the engine and raced to the end of the track, and I'm just shocked by it. And I think I've thought a lot about this. I'm sure you guys have as well. And really what I think it comes down to is the commercial interests are just winning this battle. Just like any big business, whether it be oil or whoever you want to pick on, any big business has lobbyists. And we're up against the Commercial Drone Association, and they've got a huge lobbying group that got to the FAA and said, look, it pains me that they're using this argument, but what they should be saying is, look, we're going to make $1 billion a year per company by flying these packages all over the country. But the argument they're making, which is a little sad, is we're doing this for humanitarian reasons. You guys, by not letting us fly commercially, I'm laughing because it's such a ridiculous argument. you're preventing us from saving lives, from getting blood to that donor, getting an organ over there. And I'm sure that's going to be a portion of the flights. But at the end of the day, the Commercial Drone Association represents the biggest carriers on the planet. So it's around Amazon wanting to deliver package faster and cheaper. It's about UPS delivering things. And the money that's put into that has put that CDA, that group, in front of the FAA saying, all these annoying hobbyists that are flying drones out there are going to get in our way. And we don't want that. We don't want to have to deal with that. And my argument is, if you're entering the airspace, I've got a couple of suggestions. If you're entering the airspace that's a traditionally hobby airspace, why don't you guys, since you're going to make billions of dollars doing this, design better drones to fly in that airspace that can detect and avoid hobbyist drones? Why do you put the burden on me as a hobbyist to let you know where I am through some complicated system that's going to touch the internet, go to some central database and report back that I'm in the air? You know there's going to be problems with that, right? The easier solution would be saying, you as a commercial flyer, you as UPS and Amazon, just build a smarter drone. That's all I want you to do. And leave me alone. Let me fly where I want. And if you see me, just avoid me. That's it. So I think it's a really terrible, terrible thing that they're doing it this way. I don't know what your thoughts.
I've seen some recommendations. Well, I've seen some recommendations that some people have made in the chats, not today, but in several of the chats where we've been discussing this. And they need to fly in that space between, say, above 400 but below 1,000. Let them have that place. You know, let us have our below 400. You know, let the commercial guys have the next level, and then the helicopters, and then on up to the full flight. You know, and they could do that. You know, but instead, and the other thing is just how successful do you think Amazon will be when they're not shipping a lot of drones to people around the world and stuff? Because there's a lot of people. I mean, it's not going to affect them. It really isn't. But I think if those kind of sales drop, you know, UPS, FedEx, a lot of the stuff they're shipping is drone parts or drone related too. And that's going to be at least a little chunk of their change. And,
you know, people aren't going to be buying
maybe
all that stuff.
Yeah, they're not going to be. And
you know, they could have
why buy it when you can't fly it?
I mean, I know that in general aviation, there's rules for what altitude you can fly at based on what direction you're traveling, east or west. Okay?
Right.
They could do the same thing with the drones, the commercial delivery drones. 400 to 500 feet for all west, you know, 500 to 600 feet for all north-south. I mean, it would separate them. Even if they did it, you know, 3 to 450 and 450 to 6 or something like that. But don't just take away all of our airspace. I mean, it's not right. Where I'm at now, I'm within 5 miles, as the crow flies, of a major airport, and my ceiling here is 200 feet. I'm actually happy with 200 feet.
I'm fine with 200 feet.
I don't have a problem with 200 feet.
Yeah, I am too.
If a commercial delivery drone comes and is going to land next to me, I can get out of its way. But why do we have to give up every bit of it? I mean, I said, and that's what it's coming to. It's taking every bit of it away from everyone.
So yeah, and again, I'm angry about this, and I'm trying to be as reasonable as I can, because angry people don't really convince anybody of anything. But I think the first thing, which is really important, and I'm sure you've advocated for this, is every drone flyer out there, even if they just got into the hobby at Christmas, needs to get on the website and put their thoughts down. And don't just do it once. Do it once a day if you can do it. So get on there a lot and keep commenting about how much you enjoy the hobby, how healthy it is, how happy your kids are, right? Politely, right? Contemplative, like form your thoughts first, read it twice before you actually send it. But do that, because the FAA does listen. And I think I have a couple suggestions that I'm going to do clips on the channel that I'm going to send them. I'm going to do a clip and then send them a link to it. The first one is, Lloyd, I agree with you 100%. If it's commercial traffic, it belongs above 400 feet. Plain and simple. So if you're going to fly a commercial drone, fly above 400 feet, the FAA at that point should say that corridor between 400 and 600 or 400 and 800 feet is purely for commercial traffic. I'm not up there. The plane shouldn't be down there unless they're landing, and the commercial traffic's got to stay away from the airports just like we do. So there's no issue there, and we can keep the 400 feet. The second one would be just build smarter drones. If you think about self-driving cars, right? Elon Musk is ahead of the curve on self-driving cars while the Tesla's on the road. His big push isn't going to be to build smarter Teslas that drive themselves. What he's after, and Mel, you're going to hate this, but it's the commercial trucking industry, where he wants to build large trucks that can drive 24/7. Because as much as you can drive, you got to take time away from your driving to rest. I mean, there's rules and laws across the country. If you could put a truck on the road 24/7, imagine the money you would save by not having a guy down for 8 hours getting a nap, right? I mean, you got to sleep. So he's looking to do that, but he's not going to put a truck on the road that's self-driving without testing it, because he's going to be driving next to me. So they're forcing him to build artificial intelligence, autonomous driving into the truck and test it like crazy before you put it in that sort of general area where people are going to be driving. Why is it any different with commercial drones? I mean, FAA should say to them, if you're going to build a commercial drone that's going to fly over people, you're going to fly around other obstacles like hobbyist drones, other airplanes, all kinds of obstacles. You need to build a drone that's foolproof enough to detect and avoid those type of things. And that's on you guys. If you want to fly in that space, either you're above 400 feet and you get a license like the guys at FedEx did, or if you're going to fly in that airspace, you've got to build a smarter drone. Don't put it on the backs of the hobbyists. It's just really unfair that we're going to lose our hobby based on that. So I think if you make those kind of common sense arguments, the FAA may go, you know what, there's alternatives to this that aren't as onerous on the hobbyists. Because I don't want to sound all American here, but we all pay taxes. We pay the bill at the FAA. I'm a taxpayer just like you guys are. They have to listen to us as well as the commercial interests, right? It's not like Amazon pays any more taxes than we do. So they work for us, and they should really consider us when they're putting these laws together.
I agree
Just
100%, 100%. There's,
Yeah.
And even if we had to, compromise, I'd be okay
Right.
with that. 300.
Well, I like that.
feet.
So I don't want to give
But
that up
let
too
us-
soon.
No,
Yeah.
no, stick with our 400 foot. I mean, hold our footing
Right.
as long as we can. But
Yep.
as of now, the hobbyist can only go to 400 feet.
Right.
A 107 certified pilot can go above that if he's within 400 feet of whatever the reason he's above it for.
Right.
So that's okay. Let us still have that column next to a building that we may have to inspect or something like that. And I'm good with that. But to just treat us, the best I can say is like zoo animals. You're only going to get to go play with your, zoo animals in this spot in that town and this spot in that town, and you know what I mean? Designated
But it's
designated areas, and it's just
It's also a freedom thing. I mean, I don't like the fact that I'm flying a hobby, enjoying my product, and somebody's keeping track of me. Like somebody knows where I'm standing, they know where my drone is. I can't think of any other hobby where it's got that level of tracking. And I'm not a hunter. I have nothing against guns, but I was out in the woods today and I was wearing my bright orange hat because I'm out in the woods and I don't want to get shot looking like a deer. But they're out in the woods with guns, shooting deer and shooting arrows and hunting and stuff. No one's tracking where they are or where cars are at any given moment. So why are drones the one thing that we need to know?
They're trusting the hunter not to hunt within X amount of yards of a highway or a road or a residential
or a
area.
home.
Yeah.
Right.
Things that he's
Yeah, and
supposed
so
to
trust
be
me.
aware of.
Trust me. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I feel like,
Yeah.
and I know it's kind of an aggressive conversation, but I feel almost like you've got an ankle bracelet on me, right? Like I'm under home arrest, so they can know where I am. If I fly in that area, I'm going to be in trouble. You got to trust me. We're adults, and if I get that they need to track it to a certain extent, but I think DJI's got a system right now that uses the Wi-Fi carrier that's already in the drone, and they can receive that, know where the drone is, know where the operator is, and I'm completely fine with police maybe having that or rescue having that. If they're going to put a drone up to go searching for somebody, then they know, hey, there's 4 drones in the area. Let's go talk to those guys, bring them down. We're putting a drone up to go look for a lost kid in the woods. Totally fine with that. But this idea of tracking me from the minute I launch to the minute I land scares me. And it also scares me that other people might know where I'm standing because I'm flying a $2,000 drone. Right?
And the general public being able to have an app, that's ludicrous in my opinion.
Well, that kind of got blown out of proportion. I talked to DJI about that a lot, and what they were trying to do there. Now, I'm not going to defend them because they're a drone company, right? And I always sound like I'm a DJI fanboy, but I'm probably closer to them than the other drone companies on the legislative side. I know a few people over there pretty well. They're in the business of trying to make hobbyists happy, They really are. I mean, their big business at this point isn't commercial; it's hobby, and they're the king of the world. They've got 86% of the market at this point. That may change with the
I
Evo
got to
2.
interrupt you for 1 second. 1 second.
Sure.
And maybe the button will work and maybe it won't. I don't know. But
All right.
I'm certainly going to try. Aldrin, thank you very much. And it worked. Looky there. Imagine that. I got, confetti cannons I blow off when somebody.
Well, that's cool. I like that.
I made it. I made that in After Effects. So
very cool.
It's
very cool.
Yeah.
So I forgot what I was saying. Oh, I was talking about DJI. So what you saw there, and that scared the hell out of a lot of people, is you saw sort of a proof of concept where they were trying to convince the FAA the last thing we need is some kind of real-time tracking database of all drone flyers in the U.S. Instead, we could easily put together an application like this with off-the-shelf software using transmission signals and telemetry that's already available in the drones, no cost to the consumers, no major changes to drones that are already flying. And look, you can run it on your cell phone. So a policeman that pulls up to an accident that somebody's got a drone up, they can sort of know immediately, hey, Frank over there's got the drone. Let me go talk to him and land the drone. They never meant for that to be released into the wild. It isn't a product they're going to release, but I like it because it fixes the problem the FAA's got where they're worrying about all these drone flyers out there without having this real-time tracking. That just, to me, that's just way too authoritarian. I guess that's the word I should use there.
Yeah, I agree with that completely 100%. 100%.
Now, one last thing I wanted to say before we get off the subject, and I actually printed it out because I want you to realize, and I know you guys are studying this, but believe me, these last 2 weeks since Christmas, I've been heads down in the proposal, in the legislation, and really talking to a few attorneys about what our next moves are. I want you to understand just how serious this is. So that Commercial Drone Alliance, they're this big lobbying group for all the commercial interests that are out there. So a lot of the drone manufacturers are part of it as well because they want a seat at the table. But primarily, they're there to advance the financial interests of the commercial drone operators like FedEx and Amazon and all the people that are building drones to deliver commercially. So on CNBC a couple of weeks ago, they had an interview with one of their spokespeople. Her name is Lisa Ellman, and I'll quote her here. She's from the Commercial Drone Alliance. And this scared the bejesus out of me because I thought we'll find some happy medium between hobbyists and commercial drone operators. This is a trench warfare kind of situation. They don't want any hobbyists in the air. They want the legislation to be passed immediately. And here was her quote. She said, "Our main concern is the implementation period, which is needlessly up to 3 years. Until remote ID is implemented, the American public, isn't that great, will be deprived of many of the vast safety, humanitarian, and efficiency benefits of commercial drones. We need implementation yesterday, not 3 years from now." So that's the conversation that's going on from the CDA with the FAA.
Yeah.
That should scare all of us, right? That's what they're hearing.
My question is what do we do before they got into this? I mean, how do we get these kidneys transferred from one hospital to the other, the blood sent from one, did we just let people die because we didn't have our drones? No, that's what's ludicrous about this. Is they're trying to convince our government, which is, or our FAA, if they believe this, they're trying to convince them that we're all going to die if we don't have commercial drone delivery of my last blood test,
I'm with you, Lloyd. I know, and I think it's sad they're using that argument.
Another super chat, dumb too.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's terrible they're using that argument.
Well, and it's kind of like.
Yeah, that's the most ludicrous argument I've ever heard. And, unfortunately, big business does that all the time with everything. And we're the one, drones delivery probably would never even have been thought of if it hadn't been for the hobbyist and then the Part 107 guys that come along. If we hadn't showed and been innovative, and some of us,
right.
Like the guys that down in Australia that are in trouble with them now, but with their government because they hooked up a folding chair to a drone. They built a drone that would lift a guy in a folding chair and he could fish from it.
But they blew him out over the lake and he caught a fish,
innovation. Yeah, and he caught a fish. But that's the kind of innovation that has showed these idiots in the profession or in the drone transportation business that, hey, we can make money off that, and let's forget the little guy. We'll just push him out of the way because,
Lloyd, you're right on the money.
When they go
it's all
bankrupt
about
5 years from now. Yeah. When they go bankrupt from 5 years from now because it really isn't a viable thing,
And by then
then what? You
our
know?
stuff's gone. Do we get it back if
Yeah.
that happens?
It'll
You
be
know?
dead and gone and not to recover.
How much was the fine, Greg? The guy with the that had himself flown over a lake in a chair with a drone, and he was fishing. Greg said he just got the amount of the fine, 3 fines. He's going to go get it.
Wow.
So
Okay.
because they
Yeah,
used
so
a small, heavy lift type drone to lift a person,
Right. And they weren't registered for commercial flight, I guess. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
rules in Australia would have been about it, but yeah, that's what it's about.
this is I mean, there isn't a more serious issue, maybe outside of climate change, but I mean, in the drone hobby, there isn't any more serious an issue that we got to contend with than this one. And I don't know.
Climate
I'm shocked
change
that there
happens
isn't.
every couple 100,000 years anyway. So
Yeah, I know. Earth's going to shake us off just like it has before. But back to the drone stuff without getting political. This to me is something that the drone manufacturers, and again, I talked to DJI, I mentioned it to Autel, I talked to all of them. I want them to step up and say, look, our livelihoods are at risk. If you shut down the billion-dollar business we built in the hobbyist drone space, I can't understand, like, they don't realize their hair's on fire at this point around we're going to lose our entire market, because if they think they're going to shift into commercial and do the kind of numbers they're doing in the hobbyist side, I think that's a false premise, to be honest with you. And again, I keep going back to the tracking part of it, and that's the part that frustrates me so much, because not like I'm advocating for this, but they're dangerous people that are walking around all the time, you know, people that have restraining orders and people that have, you know, committed crimes and, you know, just been released and things. And nobody watches any of that stuff. But somehow we've become the bad guys by flying drones as hobbyists in the national airspace, which is something we've done for decades, right? We've done it responsibly. And every time I see one of these ridiculous reports that some drone struck a plane someplace, and then they make a big deal out of it, and then weeks go by, they don't really find anything, they didn't find the drone, and nobody ever says, oh, we were wrong, sorry about that, we got you all excited over nothing, you know. And I got a clip I'm working on where I call the drones are the new Sasquatch, you know, where everybody swears they've seen one near an airport, but no one can verify it, take a picture of it or anything.
Exactly.
So I don't know,
just like that. Yeah, like that thing going on in Colorado right now that they're all up in arms about, you know, these, you know, well, now they're drones. 40 years ago, they would have just said they were UFOs, you know.
Right.
And they're still UFOs, but they've tagged that name drone on it because they're still unidentified flying objects. We just don't know. They just make the assumption they're drones. So drones are bad, and that's why this is happening. You know, it's so flippin' frustrating.
Yeah, it is. There are so many solutions they could put in place, I think, to fix this without jumping to the sort of the edge where they are right now. I mean, I know DJI's had the Aeroscope product out for, I think, 2 years now, and that can track any drone within 3 or 4 miles of that particular receiver. I know a lot of airports and stadiums have put that in. Now, the challenge is it can only track, I think at this point, DJI gear. I got to get some more details on that. But it's tracking against the Wi-Fi transmission signal. And I think something like that being implemented around airports so that if some knucklehead decides he's going to fly an airport within 5 miles, they know where it is. And I wouldn't even be opposed to them having some control over taking control of the drone and bringing it into the airport and landing it, right? So they've got the drone now, right? If the guy wants his drone back, he's got to come to the airport. Stuff like that's common sense. Whereas
It'd be a lot cheaper
this other one
to have airport police go out and talk to the guy and, you know, write him a ticket. I mean,
just make it a local deal, right? Instead of this.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So that's frustrating, but we could talk all night about this because I'm wound up, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, we could. Sorry I opened that box, but I had to go there.
Well, I had to answer it.
I wanted to get some information out.
Well,
sure.
Because I've been
that's
hearing
why we
some
have
little
guests on
tidbits
like this, so we can get these answers.
And I knew that you'd be one of the go-to sources for it.
Yeah, I'm wound up for sure.
More fun topic. And I won't be able to get mine for 6 months because they're not going to have my camera available for 6 months. The 640. But what do you think of that little orange bird? I
like it a lot. I love it. I think and again, I know I've been raving about a couple of different technologies over the last couple of months, but I think I'll start with Skydio, then I'll talk about the Autel because I was out all day today with the Skydio. I think what Skydio's done with that, the Skydio 2, has introduced a new style of drone that's different than anything we've ever seen. I think in a lot of ways it's disruptive technology. They've built such a brilliant flying machine with that Skydio 2 drone, and really all it's designed to do is to track a person and to avoid other objects. So it's the ultimate sort of Terminator drone, which is a horrible term, but it's that lock on you and not lose you kind of position, and it's phenomenal. I went out in the woods today with it. I had it down in the Pine Barrens, and I'm ducking behind trees, pulling out. And Mel, I took it and flew it from across the field as fast as it would go straight into a stand of trees, like trying to crash the thing. And it just dodged, it waited and dodged, and it's probably thinking I'm an idiot trying to fly into a tree, but it's correcting for my course to get it through. So I think technology like that, geez, why don't the commercial guys use that to dodge my drone in the air? But that's the first one, and I'm in love with that. I'm enamored with it. Right at the same time, the Evo 2 showed up, and again, I was under NDA with it. I've had it for a month and a half. And obviously when I'm under NDA, I love it because I can test stuff, but it's frustrating because I see all the speculation out there about what it's going to look like, what it can do. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I could spill the beans, but I have to be quiet about it.
You've got my phone number, I could ask questions. I would never put you in that position.
I know, yeah, I'll never see another drone. You get on that blacklist, man, there's no getting off it. So the Evo 2.
Real quick on the Skydio thing, there is a couple of things about that do bother me. Mm-hmm. One is a flight characteristic or lack of it. If it doesn't have enough light, it can't see. If it can't see, it crashes. Period.
Yeah.
It physically will crash into something if there's not enough light for it to see. Yep. The other thing is I saw a video, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there and give him a little plug. Billy Kyle had this Skydio following him. And it got a little bit confused, and it made a turn, and he was riding on a walkway next to a boulevard, like a 4 or better lane boulevard. The Skydio drone got confused and turned toward the boulevard and started flying toward the boulevard.
Okay.
It got caught up in a bunch of trees and stopped. Had those trees not been there, that drone would have been confused over the traffic. That bothers me about that drone.
Yeah, it's not perfect. And I'll be honest with you, every time I put it up and put it in autonomous mode, it scares me because I need my fingers on the joysticks to control it. I'm just born that way, and I'm used to flying a drone. But I will tell you that it is phenomenally good at tracking. But I agree with you. If it's dark or you've got shadows or you're in a woods, it's not going to do the job. So don't use it under those circumstances. But having said that, there's 4 or 5 things I don't like about the drone. I don't like you've got to charge the battery in the chassis. That's ridiculous. Why didn't you give me a charger I can charge it out of the body? Because I have to turn the drone on. It gets warm when I'm charging it. I don't like that you left the USB-C port open on the back because all the dust and debris is going to fall in there when I'm flying. If it's raining, it's going to get wet. I don't like the fact that you've got props on the bottom with no landing gear. I've got to hand catch and launch it. What I end up doing, because I'm not a big fan of hand catching and launching, is I'll launch it from the roof of my car. And then I'll land it on the roof of my car like I did today. So those things are kind of annoying. But what I love about it is I hate beating on people because those guys, and it's a small team at Skydio out in California, came up with this like really brave.
Yeah.
And they're all young guys, and it's a tiny little team that put this thing together. Like, that genius is Tesla level stuff, right? So let's encourage those guys to keep doing what they're doing. Gen 3 is going to be better. Gen 4 is going to be better. So I think it's wonderful for what it does for the price. So I like it. Now on to the Evo 2.
For the price, and absolutely.
I thought
so the Evo 2. Their marketing.
I thought
great.
the marketing is who was genius in who they allowed to originally try it.
For the pre-release.
They sent it to the guys, because guys like you and I, we're not going to be out skateboarding. We're not going to be out riding, doing motocross or skiing downhill.
Right.
It's just what do they want to pick. I don't need it because me on my scooter, driving around, nah. But they let the guys that were going to use it in the field the way it was intended test it. Upset a lot of their drone heads, but
no, it's not. I mean, no, you hit it on the head. It's not a drone, right? Like guys like us that fly.
Right.
It's not really for them. It's for again. I talked about 2 classes of drones now. We have followers and we have flyers, right? Everything built so far has been a flyer. The Karma was the first follower that I thought was a real follower drone, and this is the second. And I think it's phenomenal at what it does. But for me, it's got a really specific use case, but it's not going to be one I fly all the time. I'm going to go back to the Evo 2 or the Mavic 2. So now the Evo 2.
I'm looking forward to that with the 640 FLIR camera on it.
Phenomenal drone. Phenomenal. They, as I said in the clip, they built it to fly 40 minutes. I got about 35, 30, 35, 36 minutes out of it with 10 or 15% left. The one thing I will tell you is when you first turn it on, it immediately shows the battery at like 92%. And a lot of people freaked out about that, but it's building in sort of a buffer so that you look at it and go, okay, 92%, it's got the buffer built into it. So don't be afraid of that. But 40 minutes of flight time, I've flown it visual line of sight and a little bit beyond that with no signal degradation at all. It's just fantastic. I love the fact that you can swap out the camera. And I did a clip, you might have seen it.
I did,
where I actually
blindfolded. Yep.
Blindfolded, right. So
Yep.
I thought, gee, how can I illustrate just how easy it is to take this thing out? It is just that easy. So I think they've done an amazing job with this product. And if I were in the labs at DJI right now, between that two-punch of Skydio with the autonomous flight and these guys at Autel sort of saying, hey, we're throwing down the challenge, Mavic 3 is going to have to be a pretty phenomenal drone to really compete with you.
No kidding. Thank you, Rodney. You rock, buddy. Yeah, the Mavic 3 is going to have to be a combination of the Pro and the Zoom. It's going to have a little bit more flight time.
Yep.
It's going to have better obstacle avoidance. And it's going to have a better camera.
Yeah, or at least the swappable camera. I think that the horse is out of the barn on that one. And any drone, any major drone that hits anymore over $1,500, it's going to have a swappable payload.
Well,
there's just no going back.
I thought we'd be happy with the Inspire series with swappable payload. You know?
Well, Inspire's great, but it's $5,000. It's professional. It's not something you and I fly every day, right? I mean, you own one, I've got one, but I go to the Mavic more than I go to anything.
Yeah, that Mavic 2 Pro is my go-to drone.
Right. But now, I don't know if I've talked about this on the channel or not, but I just got info from Autel, I think 2 days ago, so you're probably hearing it here first. They have release dates. I don't know if they've made them public or not. I guess I can talk about them. So they were going to have the Autel Evo 2 is being released in the middle of this month, right? So they haven't got the website opened up yet, but by the end of the month, you'll be able to order it, and they're shipping right away. So they're in production right now. If you order it, it'll come pretty quickly. It won't be a 3-month wait for that. The Evo 2 Pro, which is the 1-inch sensor, will be out in the middle of February, and it's going to come at the same time that the Dual 320 is coming in the middle of February. And the end of February, beginning of March is when the 640 is going to hit. And from what I understand from the team, there's going to be 2 versions of each of those released. So with the Evo 2, there'll be a standard package and a rugged package. The standard package is the one, I think, that's $14.99 at this point. I think the rugged package is going to be $16.99, and what you get for the extra $200 is a hard case and an extra battery, and that'll be the same for the Pro 2 as well. So it's like $17.99 for the Pro 2 and $19.99 for the rugged package for the Pro 2. They haven't announced any pricing, and I've asked them a couple times on the dual cameras, so we'll have to wait and see that.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's yet.
That's the whole thing I'm interested in, because they're swappable. So you buy one drone now.
Right.
And then you can buy the different cameras, and they won't be like the XT camera would only hang under the Inspire 1. Can't use it with the Inspire 2 at all. You can use it with the heavy lifters, the M2, the M200 series, with a $250 adapter or $150, whatever it was. You could use it with that. But this is going to be one drone, period. And
that's right.
Actually, 4 different cameras, right? 6K,
correct. That's
8K, 230, 320, and 640.
That's correct. That's right. And they haven't told me for sure, but they're teasing a few other types of cameras. So I wouldn't, and that's what I love about it is I buy it once. That's a 5-year drone for me, because I'll use the sensor I've got on it now. I can upgrade to the 1-inch. I can go to the dual. I wouldn't be shocked if we see an optical zoom and a 360 down the road. So maybe the 360 is a bit of a stretch, but that optical zoom is not that big a deal. So that'd be cool, right? I mean, then every year they release a camera. And the other cool thing, and this is the part that gets the engineer in me excited, is the questions I'm asking them around, okay, so I put a new camera in, how do we handle the gimbal adjustments for that? What about the resolution adjustments to the software, and how can the software know about it? And they smiled, and what they said was, when we released the camera, the microcode's already got the settings in it for the new camera. So there's no like, you can use this, but not that. You got to backdate firmware. As the firmware matures, you pop the new camera on, it's already ready to go. It's in the software. So they're thinking ahead. They came to play with this drone.
I
They really
think you
did.
said that in your clip about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
that
smart
means
drone.
that you can fly one camera today in the morning and without ever leaving the location, swap cameras, turn everything back on and fly again.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's
No
gonna be
worrying about
exciting.
microcode or any of that stuff. Yep.
That's
really cool.
going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to all that.
It seems like Evo's really picked up on a lot of things that people were asking for, and they also seem to have learned from their initial drone, the X-Star. They've really jumped light years ahead of where they started out, and it looks like they're going to be giving DJI a real run when it comes to, I mean, one drone and you just got to buy different cameras for it for different things. How can you go wrong with that?
Yeah, I think they nailed it. And the only improvement that I think they should have done on it, and maybe DJI will have this on theirs if they do the swappable payload, which I can't believe they won't, is to make it a quick release. Because right now you got 2 screws for the collar and then 2 more screws to release the cable. So in the field, Mel, even though you can do it, man, I got to have like 2 pairs of glasses on and be really careful, with my poor eyes to see those tiny little screws. Would have been so easy to just put a twist lock on the camera assembly and a button to pop off the cable. So,
I'm with you,
well, there
buddy.
you go.
I'm with you. These are actually not dime store. These
I
are
wear
prescription.
bifocals,
Yeah. So you know what I'm saying then.
I
They're
wear
tiny little
bifocals,
screws.
so yeah.
And I got those so
But
that
that's a small thing to
I've got the
pick on. Yeah.
bifocals. I just don't like wearing them. But
That's pretty cool.
yeah.
So yeah,
I'm
that's
with
good.
you.
And then the only other 2 that are happening now is the V-Copter. I don't know if you guys have talked about that on the channel or seen that.
I have been emailing them people. I want them, my problem is I'm such a little guy that they just won't even talk to me.
No, I don't think that's true.
They get my email.
Right.
They go look at my channel. They say, 1,000 subscribers. We need somebody with 10K at least, and then we'll send them.
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think you might hear back from them. They're not terribly responsive, to be honest with you. I tried a couple of times myself. I've had a couple of email exchanges with them. When they had the last product out, I really wanted to spend some time in their design team's room and talk to them about that. I just couldn't seem to hook up with them. But on this new one, the V-Copter looks pretty cool. So
I'm
we'll have to
really
see.
interested in how that thing actually maneuvers and flies and handles and stuff. It's going to be interesting.
Right. It's a lot of interesting tech in there. Yeah.
Because
to be able to handle that
with
balancing and turning.
Not only that, but with the tilt rotors to give you forward motion, there's
Right.
nothing to create an airfoil. There's no lip. So the motors aren't going to go full forward. They can't. It would fall out of the sky.
No.
They're going to be
No, and then
at an
you've got
angle. Yeah.
Right. And then and the IMUs are what keep it stable, right? But if you're moving forward, now I've got to balance the body this way to sort of keep the camera pointing forward. So there's a lot of engineering going on. And that was kind of a moon launch.
Yeah.
Yeah, moon launch over their last product. It really is a big different product. And then let's see what else. Go ahead.
There's a
Lloyd, I'm
question
sorry.
for you, Rick, in the chat. There's a question for you. Any thoughts on the recent Matrice accident investigations with the ESC and motor issues? That's from Greg.
Yeah,
Osmo
so
drone.
it's a tough one. Honestly, I'm amazed that the drones stay up as long as they do, because you've got some incredibly complex technology going on inside that unit. It has dual IMU, so the only thing I can point to if I were looking into it would be the firmware. Some common code between those two got confused, because what's supposed to happen is if one IMU loses its mind, the other one's supposed to override it and say, hold on a second, I've got a good balance on the quad, so you've got to stop, calling for whatever is going on to make adjustments on it. But I don't know. I think they're still chasing down the issues with that. I'm sure they'll figure it out, and hopefully they'll warranty all the stuff that got damaged when that problem occurred. But further than that, I don't really have any comments on it. The only other one I wanted to talk about, well, there were 2 others quickly, Mel. One was the X Dynamics product. They're coming out with the new Evolve 2. And that to me is like a
the first one.
Yeah, I tested it, and I liked it a lot, but there were limitations on the distance and had some issues with control. It was, kind of wonky. But I think, again, I'm a fan of anybody diving into this market and being a competitor, because it drives all of it forward, makes the price go down. I think with the second one, they've dialed it in pretty good. Now, it's an expensive drone, but if you're in this space where you're going to do commercial kind of cinematography things, or you're filming buildings, or you're doing that type of thing, I think it really is a step up from what the prosumer drones have to offer.
And
4/3 camera.
It's still cheaper than the big Inspire gear, so,
It
or
is.
Q10
I
gear
think,
or anything else.
yeah, it's under $3,000, I think, with the 4/3
Yeah.
sensor. So pretty
Yeah,
interesting product. And
28 or something. Yeah, yep, yep.
yeah, and we'll probably get one to test. I'm pretty close to those guys as well. So hopefully they put one in a big box and send it over to us to let us play
Hey,
with it.
Lloyd, do you want to buy my place here in Tennessee?
No, not really.
Damn. I don't really want to live in New Jersey, but I want to live next door to Rick.
Yeah.
Rick, you got to move to Tennessee, buddy.
All right. Yeah, I like
I'm,
Tennessee a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's
I'm trying
pretty
to pay
good.
for my dog's leg. You know, I can't afford to buy a piece of property in Tennessee,
oh,
and I'd be too close to Ken Heron, and then
yeah,
he
you'd
would
only
always
Oh,
be
yeah,
be
bothering
you'd
me.
only be 20 miles from him.
I
Yeah.
know. See, and he would expect me to come over. See, if I moved to your place, he expect me to come over and move him next time, and it ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, the X
That's pretty good.
Dynamics, the Evolve is it's got some new stuff that I think is kind of exciting.
Yeah. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, I'll be
Yeah.
testing it hopefully in a couple of weeks when I get my hands on it. And then the only other one I think that's out there is the Power Vision drone. I don't know if you saw that. That's a bit of an interesting Frankenstein project. I don't know how to put it any other way. I mean, I hope I
Yeah,
get one to play with.
that's the
But
egg, right? The
yeah,
you
where the
attach
blades
legs
pop
to.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah. It's like a video camera.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a camera, but it's not. It's a drone. No, it's not. So I don't know. I think they're just trying to find a different way to put a drone up in the air. And I was pretty close to that team with their underwater drones for a lot of years, and a lot of their guys moved to Chasing Innovation. So the whole team kind of got up and walked over to Chasing Innovation to help those guys out. But they're still engineering really great products at Power Vision. So we'll see how that plays out. But short of that, I mean, that's it until we hear something from DJI. They've been interestingly quiet for the last,
Yeah.
2 years. I mean, the Mavic Mini was cool, but nothing in
Well,
the prosumer space.
there was some information from a director at DJI that said the Mavic 3 would be early 2020.
Okay.
And a dealer that I had kind of indirect information from was talking like early 2020.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
this dealer had Mavic Minis on hand before any other dealer had them,
Sounds like he's connected.
and
Yeah, he's plugged in.
he was selling them. Okay, so
Mhm.
nobody could fly them because you couldn't get the app.
Right.
But
Right.
if he's that connected, then I'm gonna kind of tend to think his information might be a little better than hearsay. So we'll see.
Well, I'm hoping. Now, I haven't gotten any NDA requests. I haven't gotten any emails. Normally what they'll do is 3 or 4 weeks before launch, I'll get this mysterious email saying, we have a project. Here's 18 pages of NDA we want you to sign before we can tell you what it is. And then I sign it, send it in, and sometimes they'll invite me into the NDA group. Usually, again, that's about a 3-week lead. So if they're coming out in the early part of this year, I don't know why they come out in January. It's probably February or March. I should be hearing pretty soon. So the rule is, if I go quiet on something, that I'm probably testing something.
Well, DJI likes their own stage. They don't like to share the stage with anybody.
Right. So they'll have their own event, I'm sure. Yeah.
They'll have their own event.
Yeah,
They'll separate it enough from CES that CES will be yesterday for everybody else,
Right.
And
Right.
so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hello, Curtis. Welcome.
Yep.
USA chasing team got what?
Yeah, I think one thing that's delaying it a little bit, Mel, is the announcement last year that they came out with that ADS-B, where they came out and put their foot down and said any drone we release from now on over 0.55 grams will have ADS-B in it. And I'm sure there was a big screeching sound at the factory when the engineers heard that and went, "What? Wait a minute, we didn't put ADS-B in the drone. What's going on here?"
Right,
So that may be
right.
delaying it a little bit too.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yep.
Going to be interesting. Anyway.
Yep. Good.
Well,
Yeah. One other thing, Rick, I do want to tell you. Last time that we were on, the three of us were on together, you sent Mel and I a really nice tripod system for the Osmo Pocket.
Yep.
And because I'd got the Osmo Pocket for my wife for her birthday, and she was, we love it. That adapter system you got set up. Matter of fact, last time Mel was at the house, I actually had it set up because he was going to spin up. I set it up there, right there on my table, and just started firing away with it. And got some good video of him and Bob Casey. But
Excellent.
I love it. That is an excellent. Yep. I recommend anybody go to Rick Smith's channel, check out his store, and look at that if you need a good adapter for your Osmo Pocket.
Rick Smith has got the goods, man. I've got so many of these laying around. I can't tell you how many I've got. There is nothing handier than that right angle connector right there, and you're the first guy I've seen had it, so you're the guy I buy it from. But
well, thanks. I appreciate that. And I actually have something for you tonight. Not to interrupt you, but we just came out with these. I don't know if you've seen these on the channel. These are our new, they're car chargers, which you're thinking, how can you get excited about car chargers? But I'll send you 3 of these. So each of you guys get one, and I'll give you one extra one you can give away on the channel if you want, Mel. But what's so cool about these is most of the car chargers that are out are not powerful enough to charge anything really. Like you can't charge the Skydio, you can't charge your smart controller because you need a lot of power. So these are 45 watts, which is one of the most powerful car chargers in the market. And it has both a USB-C and a USB-A on it. And here's the best part. It does both PD power delivery as well as Qualcomm 3.0, which is like unheard of. So these will charge pretty much anything you own in your car. And we designed those from the ground up. And they're part of what we're calling our Evolve series, where we're going to have home chargers and some other stuff coming. But the reason we built those is because I spent 3 months trying to find a car charger that would actually charge my smart controller in the car. And I couldn't find one. And there were a lot of them that claimed they could do it. I must have bought 16 of them before I finally gave up and said, all right, I'm going to have to build one. And that's what we did.
I cheated. I've got a 3500 Silverado dually, right? Dual batteries, dual alternators, all that crap.
Right.
I put a 3500 watt inverter in. So I just plug into 110, and I got what I need. But
well, these are $25, so I think that's a pretty good deal.
That's
to be able to charge all your
You don't know how many. Well, for the longest time, I've just switched up. But I'm a vlogger, which I always tell people. I'm not a drone guy. I'm a vlogger, but I do own a couple of drones. But I used my phone. But when you're using that to film with and you're vlogging, it runs down, and the car chargers will not charge it up fast enough, because it's an iPhone XS. It will not charge that sucker up fast enough for you to keep using it. So I just, at Christmas time, my wife got me a Nextbase dash cam that shoots in 4K, and I've got the reverse camera, so it's sweet. It's a nice setup, but I still use that phone for some of my shots. And you don't know how many times I've why don't they make these cars? I found that out because my iPads kept running down, and I had to go buy a 65 watt charger that was USB 3 for the home because they give you a 12 watt charger for something that uses 25 watts. Doesn't make sense.
That's the thing that amazed me when I started looking, is that they all have these amazing specifications. But again, being a nerd, I'm going to put them on the bench. I'm going to put a load on them. I'm going to see exactly how much current they can conduct. And they just don't work the way they're advertised. And the bigger problem, I think, is that most of the phones need something that's smart on the PD side and the QC3 side, because if you're trying to fake it and you really can't do quick charging 3.0 or PD, Apple will not let you fast charge unless you've got a clean PD power delivery type of signal. And we built these to be compatible with both Android tablets, all the stuff that's out there. And I have 2 of them in my car, Mel. I didn't do the inverter thing, but I've got one in the front and one in the back, and it keeps all my kids happy, right? Because I've got Android kids and I got Apple kids, and they can all plug in at the same time. That's good to go. So I'll send you 3 of those, and you guys can keep 2 and then give one away. I think you're going to love them. We're pretty proud of them.
Awesome.
Good.
Yeah, I look forward to that, because that's definitely something I can use.
Excellent. That's great. So did you have any last minute questions for me? Because if not, I'm going to jump off and go downstairs and start editing some of that footage from today.
Yeah. What's Curtis talking about that you sell Gladius line? Mentioned to him there's no USA team if he was dealing with them. I don't quite understand that statement, Curtis, but.
I am actually working with the Chasing Innovation team, which is the Gladius group. Good friends with those guys, and we've been kind of kicking around. They've been after us to list them on our site and actually become the USA distributor for those. And we're still thinking about it. I've been testing them like crazy. I think it's a wonderful product, but it's a big commitment for us to jump in and be that person. But,
Right.
you know, we've been kicking it around, myself and the group, and I think we're going to do it. I think we'll do that. There may be actually be a drone company we're going to start representing as well. So
Who got fired Friday?
What's that?
Okay, I understand what he's saying.
Oh.
Curtis Dart says that the USA chasing team that was at CES, they fired
Right.
all of them Friday after the show was over.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Holy smokes.
That's what he's saying.
yeah. I heard
Well, I haven't
that.
heard anything about that. So
I heard
I'll
that
have
from
to,
another location as well. Curtis isn't the first place I've heard that from.
wow. All right.
What
Well, I'm
about
going to have to
Jim?
look into that. That's
You
news to me.
Yeah.
So you guys
you'll be making a phone call before you start doing your editing.
Well, I will be making
Yeah.
a phone call. Yeah, it's kind of late on a Sunday, but tomorrow I'll get into it with them. But boy, that's a shock. That really is surprising
Yeah,
because that was a
so
pretty seasoned team
Yeah.
that moved over there. So
that's
We'll
the
have to see.
rumor. So
all right.
anyway,
Well, interesting.
um,
Well, that's ending on a sad note.
I'll
And yes, I'm still running for president, Archie Fun.
that
I'm running-
email exchange
I'm running
we've
for
had for the
president of the
last
United
hour,
States.
I'll give you a good address.
Yeah.
Do that, please.
See.
Yeah, and then I'll
Running for
send
the
these out
president.
tomorrow to you guys.
Okay.
Sounds
and,
good.
I'll make sure I'll include Lloyd's address in there too.
That's perfect.
I
That'd be
hate
great.
to have to do that. I'd like
Yeah,
to get all
yeah.
three of them, but he really needs one.
Yeah, this will take care of them.
I
No
could
sweat.
use one. Yeah, I could definitely
Good.
use one. And
Good.
like I
Belated
said,
Christmas.
that adapter for the Osmo Pocket is just
Yeah, that stuff just fantastic.
fantastic. I love it.
Good.
Yep.
Glad you like it. That's really encouraging. Thank you.
Thank you for
All right,
coming
Mel.
on
So
with
if
us,
that's
Rick.
it, I'm going to sign off if that's okay. And I really appreciate you inviting me on tonight. I always love talking to you guys.
I appreciate you taking the time to join us and talk about all this stuff with us.
You bet.
I'm
Anytime.
Sure it was very
Always
informative
good seeing you.
for all the viewers.
Same here. Lloyd.
Appreciate
Great.
it. Good night, Rick.
Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Good night, Rick.
Well, that was a
Wow,
lot of fun.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
My question is about the of course, this is jumping back to what Curtis Dart said, but what about, I wonder if that affected Jim Boyd. Was he part of that?
I don't know.
He was out at CES, and he's
Yeah,
been
but
testing the,
Yeah, but he's not part of the development team. He doesn't work for the company.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I was just wondering
Yeah,
if
he was out there
if that would have affected him.
He was out there as a viewer, wasn't he?
He was just out there to have fun.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, spend
You know
my
what?
campaign money.
Yeah, spend your campaign money. In fact, I'm going to let you talk about that for about 45 seconds while I go get me a fresh coffee.
Okay, it's that's
In
sad
fact, if
because
you want to start talking about your that thing down there next to you.
oh, you talking about my drone?
Huh?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that okay.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you guys who don't know, I won this on Ready Set Drone about 2 weeks ago on whenever his first Friday show was, and Mel's been after me. Mel's got a package because he won something a week or two or a month before that. But anyways, it is the Hell Fury 360 is what it's called. And it's a quadcopter. It's a toy. It's by SEMA. That's where I started out, was with SEMA stuff. So, and yeah, Ben, you were in there, weren't you? But anyways, it came with, and this is the one. If you guys saw Kelly's video, there was no damage. It's tough. This is the one Kelly actually flew, but came with the wonderful little SEMA, controller, and then the here's the drone, and it's it's a toy drone, but it's actually kind of cool because, and that's part of the reason I won it, is because I had actually saw his video the day before he had that contest, and the first thing I thought when I saw it was it reminded me of the helicopters they had in Avatar, and that was the question, you know. And let me see if I can get this. There we go. Oop, 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 oop. Ah, there it is. It's got one. This prop here pushes down, and the other three are lift. So it's got one push down and three lift. And I have no clue how it flies. So I did promise Kelly that I would fly it on my show tomorrow night. So, but it was, you know, like I said, it's a SEMA, it's a toy, you know. And I just noticed that yellow. Oh, hey, Sean Oz, how you doing? Yeah, I'm. Hope you're doing well. Going to Steamboat tomorrow. 20+ inches of snow. Bringing the Zoom, but might not get to fly. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a nice. I miss the snow from Colorado, because that's the one thing I miss. But anyways, but yeah, it's. I'm going to attempt to fly this tomorrow night. But I told Mel I would take it out and show you guys what all I got. This was what was cool. It came with this.
So
which
he
is,
gets
of
a
course,
drone.
a landing pad.
He gets a drone that's got an interesting shape, that's kind of like from the movie Avatar and all that. But he thinks the cool part is a landing pad. Really? Come on, Lloyd. I mean,
yeah. Look, man, it's a landing pad. You know, it's a landing. All right, so I've already got one of these, but now I won't.
Now
be able
you
to
got
get
to
the
try
damn
and fold that
back
thing back up.
Yeah, I know. Well, I watched Kelly do it. I don't know if I can do it like he did or not.
Yep, you're getting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
There you go. There you go. You got it.
There we go.
Now you can hook it over itself, and it should stay. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe.
Better put it back in the bag, or it's going to go boing on you again. But just like that.
Just like that.
Well,
yeah.
So that was yours from Kelly Shores, right?
Right. And I got some stickers in here, some miniature stickers, and I'm not sure what he was implying, but the baggie that he sent it in, says Texas Tough. I mean, really?
Yeah.
He knows I live in Oklahoma. Did he have to rub it in?
Right. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
I got a box from Kelly.
$11 on Amazon. A drone might deliver it, probably.
Yeah. So I'm going to open this one up, but I think I know what this is. I haven't opened it. I saved it for the show. Pretend like it's Christmas, right? Just tear the paper off.
Right.
And who says older people don't know how to recycle? You know what this is? This is brown bag. There ain't nothing wrong with brown bag wrapping paper. Okay, so anyway, this is supposed to be that Bugs 3 or something. Yeah, the Bugs 3.
You know what he didn't do? You know what he didn't do when he sent this controller?
He didn't send you batteries?
He didn't leave the batteries in. He took them out after he tried it. So, okay, well, I'll remember that. I'll put batteries in it tomorrow for the show. And for those that have been following, Ranger goes in tomorrow morning for his surgery. We've been raising money for that, and man, guys, I appreciate it. So.
Okay, now I don't have this shot lined up right, Lloyd. I'm just going to do it like this real quick and hit the plus sign so that your audio stays on. That way I can turn this over this way, and that other camera right up there will see me.
Okay, Sean Oz, you take care. It's good seeing you here.
Welcome, Sean. Thanks for coming in, man.
Sean wants to give away a DJI Osmo Pocket.
What?
Ooh.
What?
That's what he said. Sean says, I want to give away a DJI Osmo Pocket.
I don't see where he's saying that.
I can't. It's in the chat.
Oh, I want to give a, well, Sean, I'll just give you the address. No problem. Yeah. Watch this. Right here. Let me switch over to background clips. Put that there. Right there, Sean. Just send it right there to that there address. P.O. Box 12, Holiday, Tennessee, 38341. That's all you got to do right
left
there.
after he said that.
What's that?
Sean, I think Sean's already left. He got out. He put that. We should have been paying attention, you know?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I got to switch back. Where's that other camera at? Where'd it go? There it is right there. I found it.
There it is.
2 batteries. I guess I opened
Oh,
this
he
thing
gives you
upside
batteries.
down. Prop guards. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Ready, set, drone sticker.
Yep,
Tools.
yep.
Pieces, parts, charger. Yeah.
Yep.
Charger adapters for the batteries, I guess. All right.
PD Tech, just ignore Nightbot. She's rude. She goes in and
What's
bosses everybody around.
Nightbot being a winch.
Yeah, she's being a winch.
Oh, well. They'll get over it.
That's for Nightbot.
Yeah. Well, you make her mad and she'll get you too.
Yeah, well.
Anyway.
It won't be the first time I've made Nightbot mad.
Yeah, right. Right. Okay, so
Yeah.
this Bugs 3 drone, y'all, is the drone that I won on Kelly's show. First Friday in December, I believe it was.
December, yeah. I was thinking you won it in December. Yeah.
And he got them sent out. He told us he'd get them sent out this year. And I had some giveaways, and later this month, I'm gonna be getting that stuff shipped out. So
You know
I've got
happened?
like
I'm gonna
four
slap the snot out of
four
myself.
things I gotta send, and
Oh, okay.
get that stuff sent out.
Just to let everybody know, the if you want a cap, a shirt, or a hat from me, it's all been ordered and supposed to ship between the 17th and the 22nd, I think. We got to get all them little Chinese fellers to get together and start printing them up and sewing them and making them and put them in whatever they do. I don't know how they do it. It's just, you know, they all say made in China on them, so I assume that's how they do it, you know. But they will be shipped to whoever has. Look at that! I got it back in there. Wow, that's probably the first one I've done easy.
You never get things
Kelly
like that
Shore's
back.
videos are worth watching. If nothing else, I learned how to put that together.
There you go. That's right. Man, I'm glad we started this show tonight at the new time, 6 o'clock. Don't
I
forget,
know.
everybody, my new time is 6 p.m. on Sunday now. Don't forget.
Yeah.
I did put a video out 30 minutes ahead of time tonight, reminding everybody the 6 o'clock hour one. What's got you going so excited, Lloyd?
Thunderbird, he says. So let's say Glumpy Grogger on it instead
Glumpy.
of Grumpy Vlogger.
Glumpy Grogger. There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Glumpy.
Hello, Trevor. Welcome. Bob Casey. Hello. J Bird. T Bird. Everybody bird. Bird is a word. No, I ain't even going to do it. No. Tater.
Yeah.
Tater wants some gravy. Anyway. All right, guys. That's about going to wrap up the show, I think. Let me see. Rumpy Roger.
Rumpy Rogger. Yeah. That's what they'll say, Rumpy Rogger. All right.
Oh, man.
Oh, we're going places we shouldn't go with this show right now.
Live stream, new time, 1800 hours next Sunday. That is exactly correct,
Yeah.
Bob. That is exactly correct.
And I am
find a spot
I
on
am
the
getting
shelf to
up
put this
and
thing down.
yeah, Do you have a place for it? If you don't, send it to me. I can find a place.
Well, I might send it to
Yeah,
you to
sir.
play with
And-
after I get done anyway.
Oh, okay.
And then
That
we'll give it away or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, and I want to thank Ronald Lockwood because he helped out with something. I want to thank everybody who's helped with Ranger. We have made total of $1,245 so
That's
far
fantastic.
between what's been on the GoFundMe and some private ones that have been sent to me. Plus, we've got somebody else who's coming in to, I'm still trying to get the most that I can in that so that one person doesn't have to carry the largest part of the load. But yeah, and those two links are. I think those are links to both mine and Jeff Sills, because he's definitely needing help. How's Jeff doing, anyways? He's over 3/4 of the way.
I haven't talked to him.
So he's at.
Phantom.
I was
Hodges,
looking at this.
If I lived on planet Zulu, I could tell you what that was in Zulu time, but I don't live on planet Zulu, so I don't really care. How's that for explaining what it is in Zulu time, Lloyd?
What time is that in Zulu time?
Yeah, I don't live on planet. It's minus 6 hours.
Planet Zulu. Yeah, I don't either. Although I'm getting close, I think it's one of these star
It's one of
systems
those
out
out
here
there,
somewhere
yeah.
that I'm floating through.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, 6 a.m. next 6 p.m. God no, if it's 6 a.m. I won't be there, Mel.
You'll be there if I'm knocking on your door at 6 a.m.
Yeah, well, Judy might shoot you. She keeps a pistol next to her bed, so. Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Yes,
we're
it's
gonna-
fake razzmatazz. I've already had. We can't call that Raz because I already had Ken Heron give me crap about it Friday night. So, yeah, well, who cares?
That's right, Tater. That's
Yeah,
exactly
tomorrow
right.
morning, I've got to have Ranger up there between 7 and 8, and it's a 45-minute drive from here. So, you can
so
imagine.
you will be up at 6 a.m.
Yeah. Tomorrow I
Sunday.
will. I'll be up at 5:30, just not next Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
just not
thanks
the
to everybody.
psychedelic stuff.
Do what?
Just not the psychedelic
don't like my-
stuff.
you didn't
yeah,
like
so
my psy-
everybody, what Lloyd's going to do is he's going to take Tater. He's going to take Ranger up to the vet and abandon him for a couple days. He's got to leave him there for a day or two.
Yeah,
So.
just one. They're going to keep him overnight, and I'll pick him up on Tuesday, but much later in the day. But yeah, he's. I don't know if I didn't. Yeah, here. This is the reason he's going to the vet. So, is because this is his leg on. I can't remember which side it is now.
Now y'all
but
notice down there
anyways,
at the bottom of the X-ray.
Yeah,
there, how
down at
odd
the
a place
bottom.
That is.
Those two bones are supposed to be connected by that little darker white spot in the center, and they're not. So that's why he's have to. He blew out his knee. So. Oh, where'd we
Okay.
go? Yeah.
I'm going to put that up there
So-
just to remind everybody about all that stuff. And had a couple of super
And-
chats. Thank you very much for those that did that. And now I see what that little box is doing on the chat, Lloyd. It's putting up whoever's got the chat thing.
Yeah.
Got their thing up.
Yeah. You just seeing that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Whoever's
get it
chat
now.
pops in.
I get
Yeah.
it now. All right, guys. Lloyd, it's that time.
Yes.
It's a
It
good
is.
thing I started this show an hour early tonight.
It is.
I knew that Rick would be exciting to have. I
Rick
probably
gave
could
some
have kept another
excellent
half hour
information.
With him. Yep.
Yeah, easily.
So I hope
And,
everybody picked up on all that. I hope everybody got something out of it.
Yeah.
I know you could
Make
have
sure
been
that
anywhere tonight. you chose to spend your time here with us, and I really do appreciate that, y'all. I really do. And with that, all being
I
said,
appreciate you having me on.
I'm going to go to this show end thing here. Right here. I'm going to click that. Are you ready, Lloyd?
I am. Goodbye, everybody. Be safe. Treat each other the way you want to be treated, okay?
There you go.